Miss Duffy here. I just wanted to show you a really good website for finding out information on some of the topics we're doing. So I'm on the conicalflask.ie. Okay, type that into Google, and you go to Junior Cert Science, and you go to well, we're going to be doing photosynthesis. That's biology. So you go to biology, and then you scroll down to photosynthesis. If you can scroll down, computer's a little bit slow. I'm not sure why that's not scrolling, girls, but it does. It will normally scroll. So you can scroll down. There we go. So you can scroll down and you can see the different topics. There's photosynthesis. There you go into photosynthesis, and it will give you notes, and it will give you a little video tutorial and things like that. So it's a really nice kind of supporting website you can use as well as these videos. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through photosynthesis, girls, today, and we've just finished the digestive system, so we're going to be moving on to photosynthesis now. It's really important that you do try the assessment task I give you at the end of a topic, girls, just so I know that you know what you're doing, and also just to reassure yourself that you've kind of learned the right things. Okay, so that is really important. Not everybody's trying those, so I will be chasing up on that now after this one. Okay, so girls, photosynthesis. Let's start off. Spot the mistake on this tub of what they're calling plant food. Can anybody see an issue with that? Okay, hopefully you've noticed that this shouldn't say plant food, it should say fertilizer, okay? Because plants make their own food. They do not need food added to the soil for them, okay? So that should say fertilizer and not plant food. So girls, today you should know what photosynthesis is, you should know the word equation for photosynthesis, you should know how important it is, and you should know how farmers can use what they know about photosynthesis to maximize their yield for their crops. So to grow as many and as large plants as they can to make money out of them. Now, when we look at a plant cell, girls, okay, this would have been something we did in first year a long time ago. You can see that they're these little tiny little cell parts or organelles called chloroplasts, and they're green. Okay, they contain the pigment or the color chlorophyll, and these are really, really important for doing photosynthesis, girls, because these are essentially like little solar panels for the cell. They're what absorb the energy from the sun and allow the plant to make their food from that energy. Okay, so that little organelle there, chloroplasts, are really, really important. Now, girls, photosynthesis, so what it is, so it's something that I'm sure you did at primary level, okay? So it's when the plant's leaves absorb light energy. It's where they take in carbon dioxide from the air through little holes in their leaves called stomata, and it's where they take water up through their roots, and the water travels all the way up the stem of the plant. And in those little chloroplasts, girls, that we just watched, we just seen there in the plant cell, that is where the magic happens. That's where they combine the water and carbon dioxide together in a chemical reaction to create their food glucose. Okay, and also the molecule oxygen, which is then given out by the plant. So if we're looking at a word equation, girls, this has to be known for junior cert. So it's carbon dioxide combines with water. That arrow means there's a chemical reaction happening in the presence of light and chlorophyll, which is the colour pigment in chloroplasts, to give the plant food glucose and to give the gas oxygen. Now, just remember, carbon dioxide enters and oxygen enters and leaves the plant through little holes in the leaves called stomata. If you pick a leaf and you have a look on the underside of it, you will see those little holes. Water enters the roots, I spelled plants wrong there, excuse me. So water enters through the roots of the plant. Okay, so that needs to be taken down and learned. So we can watch a short little video on this, if this is going to work. There we go. Okay, so here we see water entering the roots. Okay, it goes up the plant in a special plant tissue called xylem. Okay, it's kind of a strange word, but they're essentially like little straws that take the water all the way to the leaf. The leaf here is absorbing it's absorbing light from the sun. These are the stomata here, girls. These are these tiny little holes on the underside of the leaf that take in the carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon dioxide entering the stomata, as you can see. Okay, and then inside the chloroplast is where the magic happens. Okay, so there's our chlorophyll pigment, there's our green pigment absorbing the light energy from the sun. It now will cause the carbon dioxide from the air and the water from the roots to combine together, girls, to make glucose, and oxygen. Okay, done. And then your oxygen is given out through your stomata there. Now, the glucose made by plants, girls, can be used for a number of different things by the plant. It can be used for energy straight away. It can be used to make proteins as well in the plant, all right? Or it can be stored as starch. So just like we store fat if we take in too much food, if plants do too much photosynthesis, they will store the excess food as starch. So what starch is, girls, is loads of glucose molecules joined together like a big massive chain, okay? That's starch there. We can test for starch using the chemical iodine. It goes from a brown colour to a blue-black colour. That's something that we will do in the classroom at some point. We'll be testing lots of different plant parts for starch. Why photosynthesis is so important to us, girls, is for two reasons. It's vital to us. It leads to the production of food. Okay, so every food chain will always start with a plant. Okay, every food chain in the world. So even if you're somebody who won't eat your veggies on your plate, even if you only just eat beef burgers all the time, all right, that beef has come from eating grass, all right. So every food chain will always start with a plant. Also produces oxygen, which we need to breathe. Now, the word equation for photosynthesis, girls. This is just a number of questions just to see if you're retaining what we're doing. Okay, so have a little think there if you can remember what the word equation for photosynthesis was. Remember? Pause the video now and see if you can write it down. Remember, it's carbon dioxide plus water, arrow, in the presence of light and chlorophyll, they go over and below the arrow, gives oxygen and glucose. Next question. Where does photosynthesis happen in the plant? Again, pause the video and see if you can write that down. It happens in the chloroplasts, doesn't it? In the leaves. What molecule is this? It's loads of glucose molecules stuck together. It's how plants store their excess food. It's starch, isn't it? Okay. What are the reactants and products of photosynthesis? So this is a question here that's using two kind of complex words. Reactants are the things that are needed for photosynthesis. So they're the things that are on the left-hand side of the word equation. So they are your carbon dioxide and your water. The products are what are produced during photosynthesis. That's your oxygen and your glucose. Okay, so we're going to move on to understand why plants are important to us and talk about deforestation. So like I said, photosynthesis is vital to us, okay, because every food chain starts with plants. So every food chain will start with the glucose that plants make. And then also that oxygen is really important for us to breathe, okay? It's our only source of oxygen on the earth. So it produces food, produces oxygen, and also plants take in carbon dioxide, girls, while they're doing photosynthesis, which means that reduces the global warming issue that we're having at the moment because of all the emissions we're giving out through burning fossil fuels. So the big issue at the moment, girls, about deforestation in the Amazon is that we are taking one of the biggest sources of oxygen from the world. If we removed all of our Amazon rainforest, we would reduce our oxygen level on the earth by possibly up to 12%, okay? That means you wouldn't be able to run without getting out of breath, you wouldn't be able to walk normally, you wouldn't be able to function normally. So those big, huge forests are vital to us. Now, girls, you should understand the terms optimum conditions, and you should understand how farmers can use what they know about photosynthesis to increase the yield of their crops. So optimum conditions are the best conditions for a plant to grow under, okay? So that can vary for different plants. Now, I'm just going to go through these really quickly. You can pause the video and have a read of this if you want. So, girls, obviously for photosynthesis we need water. So when farmers are growing their crops, they will make sure that all of their plants will get enough water. They usually do this by having sprinklers there, okay? Light then, girls. Often farmers will grow things in glass houses, so they will have the plants under light for 24 hours a day to make sure that there's enough photosynthesis occurring for their plants to grow large. Carbon dioxide, okay, so sometimes in glass houses as well, they will burn fossil fuels or burn wood to try and increase the carbon dioxide level in the air in the glass house, and that's to try and increase photosynthesis as well, to get as big a crop as possible. Nutrients in the soil, they make sure that there's enough fertilizer in the soil. They usually do this through animal poo or through chemical fertilizers to make sure that the plants grow big and strong and they don't have any deficiencies in anything. And then also, girls, temperature. So photosynthesis is controlled by enzymes. Remember those biological catalysts? And we want to make sure that they have the right temperature to work under. So usually glass houses are warmer than you'd expect, warmer than the air outside, to allow for that to allow for those enzymes to work as fast as possible and to allow for as much photosynthesis to happen as possible. And then finally, pesticides. So they want to make sure that their crops aren't eaten by anything. So for example, if there's green fly, they might add ladybirds, okay, or they might add some natural pesticides, such as the cane toad in Australia was introduced into Australia to try and eat locusts off crops to try and increase yields. But that didn't work out very well because he ended up eating lots and lots of native reptiles and affecting their numbers. Okay, so it's not a great idea to bring in a predator that's not normally there. We can also spray chemical pesticides on our crops to prevent animals from eating them, and also herbicides are weed killers. So you might not want weeds growing in your crop because otherwise they'd be competing for minerals in the soil and competing for light and water. So you might spray your crop with some herbicides as well. So girls, essentially, that is it for photosynthesis. I will post up a little activity for you to do by the end of the week. So hopefully, girls, you can get as much notes off this as you can.